In the heart of the Amazon rainforest, Brazil, a man encountered a parasite that would doom him on a fateful day in 2018. He was unaware that the flesh-eating nematode, known as strongyloids, awaited him in the murky waters. After wading through the swamp, he fell ill, suffering unimaginable pain as the parasite burrowed into his skin, leading to sepsis. His body turned against him, organs shutting down one by one. Friends could only watch in horror as he writhed in agony. Days later, he succumbed, a victim of a predator too small to see, but too deadly to ignore. The rainforest is beautiful, but it harbors demons that feast on the living, reminding us of nature's brutal reality. In November 2016, a man vacationing in Costa Rica became the victim of a botfly infestation. Unbeknownst to him, a female botfly laid eggs in his skin. Days later, he noticed painful lumps and intense itching. As he scratched, he uncovered the ghastly truth: larvae crawling beneath his skin. This gruesome spectacle turned his vacation into a living hell. Doctors were horrified but intrigued as they delicately extracted the wriggling maggots. The man suffered from severe infections, and the psychological scars ran deep. The horror didn't end there. The memories haunted him long after. Remember, paradise can hide deadly nightmares beneath its surface. In Vietnam, 2017, a man plunged into a warm freshwater lake, unknowingly inviting terror. He became the latest victim of Naegleria fowleri, a brain-eating amoeba lurking in still waters. Days later, he presented with severe headaches and fever, just the beginning of his nightmare. Within days, he experienced confusion, hallucinations, and eventually seizures. His brain was turning into a battleground as the amoeba relentlessly destroyed tissue, leading to a gruesome fate. By the time medical professionals intervened, it was too late. He succumbed within a week, leaving a horrifying reminder of nature's brutality, a fatal encounter that shocked the world and turned a casual swim into a death sentence. In a bizarre twist of events, world leaders Putin, Trump, and Kim met for what was billed as a serious summit. Instead, they found themselves in a kitchen disaster. As they joked about world peace, someone tossed a pie, hitting Trump square in the face. Laughter erupted, and soon the room turned into a food fight frenzy. Putin, with a smirk, launched a plate of borscht at Kim, who retaliated with a sushi platter. The trio ended up wrestling in mashed potatoes, while aides scrambled to salvage the diplomatic decorum. Amidst the chaos, they realized that laughter might just be the key to world peace, even if it was served with a side of mashed potatoes and a dollop of chaos. Kim Jong-un, known for his stern demeanor, has a surprising side most don't see: his love for wild parties. One night, he hosted an extravagant bash, complete with a karaoke competition. Imagine the scene: Kim, half drunk, belting out cheesy pop songs while his inner circle tried to keep straight faces. Suddenly, a prankster swapped his drink with a bizarre concoction that made him chug down something akin to liquid fire. He turned bright red but laughed it off, insisting it was a new North Korean spirit. The night spiraled into chaos as his security team accidentally released a flock of trained pigeons, sending guests into a panic. Kim, in his element, just cackled at the madness. Donald Trump and his hair have had quite the tumultuous relationship. One infamous incident occurred during a rally in a windy city. As he stood at the podium, a strong gust sent his locks flailing in every direction, leaving the audience in hysterics. His hair, usually styled to perfection, seemed to have a mind of its own, resembling a sentient creature ready to escape. Even Trump couldn't help but chuckle as he attempted to tame the wild mane on live TV. This moment became a meme, with people jokingly claiming his hair was an independent entity. It's a reminder that even the most powerful can have their moments of sheer absurdity, especially when it comes to that iconic hairdo. In a bizarre twist of fate, a penguin waddled into the Kremlin one cold morning, catching Vladimir Putin off guard. The staff thought it was a prank, but Putin, with his trademark stoicism, decided to roll with it. He named the penguin Boris and proclaimed him the honorary ambassador of Antarctica. As Boris swam in a specially built pool, Putin hosted a press conference, joking that Boris was the only one who could make him look more serious. The world laughed, but Putin had a plan. He sent Boris on a global tour to promote Russian tourism, claiming he was the coolest ambassador ever. The penguin became an unexpected sensation, proving that even in politics, humor can break the ice. On July 12, 2023, in the skies over Arizona, a skydiving adventure turned into a chaotic freefall. As he plummeted through the clouds, excitement turned to horror when the parachute failed to deploy. Time warped as he spiraled downward, a human cannonball hurtling towards certain doom. His mind raced, replaying every moment of his life, while his body screamed for survival. Flailing, he grabbed his backup chute, but even that snagged on his gear, leaving him to plummet like a rock. With the ground rushing up, he smashed through a cactus field, a prickly embrace breaking his fall, but not his spirit. He survived, but his ego, that took a nosedive. On June 12, 2023, in a quaint suburban neighborhood, a homeowner decided it was time to renovate. Excitedly tearing down walls, he uncovered not just old insulation, but a tangled mess of exposed wires. Ignoring safety protocols, he thought he could save a few bucks by DIYing the electrical work. As he reached for his tool belt, a faint spark danced in the air. With a bang that shattered glass and a flash that lit up the room, he was instantly electrocuted. Neighbors described a surreal scene, witnessing him levitate briefly before collapsing, tools scattered like confetti. His dream renovation turned into an electrifying misfortune, proving that some DIY projects are best left to the professionals. In a dimly lit room, three of the world's most infamous leaders gathered for an underground poker game. Vladimir Putin, with his steely gaze, shuffled cards like a pro. Donald Trump, sporting a golden tie, kept asking if he could raise the stakes, literally and figuratively. Kim Jong-un, munching on popcorn, declared that the winner would get all the nuclear codes. The tension was palpable as Trump bluffed with a handful of nothing, claiming he had the best cards, while Putin smirked, holding a royal flush. Suddenly, Kim threw a tantrum over a lost bet, yelling about sanctions. The night spiraled into chaos, filled with laughter, insults, and a few surprising alliances, proving that even world leaders can have fun. Kim Jong-un's secret playlist is a wild mix that could only belong to a dictator with a flair for the bizarre. Picture this. A high-ranking official stumbles upon a collection that includes everything from 80s pop anthems to heavy metal. Who knew Kim had a soft spot for Sweet Child of Mine? As laughter echoes through the palace, it's revealed that he even cranks up the volume on Gangnam Style during military parades. Imagine soldiers marching to Psy's infectious beats. This absurd revelation paints a hilarious picture of Kim, the man who loves to combine world domination with a dance party. His playlist is a chaotic reflection of his unpredictable nature, blending humor with dictatorship. Between 1918 and 1919, the world faced a catastrophic influenza outbreak that claimed over 50 million lives. Originating in the trenches of World War I, this deadly virus spread like wildfire, infecting 1/3 of the global population. Hospitals overflowed, turning into makeshift morgues, as doctors struggled to keep up with the relentless tide of patients. The symptoms? High fevers, uncontrollable coughs, and a hauntingly blue pallor. Entire families were wiped out overnight, leaving communities shattered. And as if the death toll wasn't grim enough, bodies piled up on streets waiting for burial. This was not just sickness, this was chaos and despair unleashed, turning life into a macabre theater of death. In the summer of 1665, London was gripped by the Great Plague, a merciless affliction that turned the city into a graveyard. As the disease spread like wildfire, the streets echoed with the cries of the dying. Rats scurried, carrying the fleas that unleashed this deadly curse. By the end, an estimated 100,000 souls were lost, nearly a quarter of London's population. Families were torn apart, and the cart drivers calling, "Bring out your dead," became a haunting lullaby. The once thriving markets fell silent as fear gripped the hearts of the living. This was no comic tragedy. It was a grim reality where humor was the only escape from the horror. The Great Plague left a scar on history that still chills us today. In 2014, a man in Laos unknowingly became host to a lethal parasite known as the rat lungworm. This sinister creature, lurking in contaminated water, penetrated his bloodstream, causing excruciating symptoms. Initially, he suffered from headaches and fatigue, dismissing them as mere exhaustion. But soon the true horror began. His body was overtaken by paralysis as the parasite wreaked havoc on his nervous system. Within weeks, he lost the ability to move, trapped in a nightmarish existence. Doctors struggled to save him, but the damage was catastrophic. Ultimately, he succumbed to the parasite's insidious grip, a victim of nature's cruelty, forever haunting the jungles of Laos. In June 2013, in the small town of Lake Jackson, Texas, tragedy struck when young 12-year-old Zachary, a carefree boy, took a dip in a local water park. Unbeknownst to him, he was about to encounter Naegleria fowleri, a deadly amoeba lurking in warm freshwater. Within days, Zachary experienced agonizing headaches, fever, and hallucinations. As the parasite invaded his brain, he faced a gruesome reality: primary amoebic meningoencephalitis. Doctors scrambled to save him, but the odds were stacked against this innocent child. Just days after emerging symptoms, Zachary succumbed to the relentless pathogen, leaving a community shattered and a chilling reminder of nature's darker side. A serene swim turned into an unspeakable nightmare. Picture this: Donald Trump, in the middle of a crucial meeting, suddenly craves a sandwich. He orders a massive sub packed with all the toppings. As he takes that first glorious bite, chaos ensues. The sandwich is so overstuffed that it practically explodes, sending lettuce flying across the room and mustard splattering his shirt. Trump, unfazed, looks around and declares, "This is the best damn sandwich ever." His team can't help but burst into laughter. The whole scene becomes a meme, with people creating countless jokes about Trump and his infamous sandwich disaster. Who knew lunch could turn into such a wild spectacle? Only Trump would make a sandwich a headline. One hot summer day, Joe Biden strolled into an ice cream shop, determined to beat the heat. He confidently ordered a double scoop of chocolate chip, his favorite. But as he turned to greet a group of excited kids, disaster struck. The sun blazed mercilessly, causing his ice cream to drip like a leaky faucet. Watching this spectacle, a nearby reporter quipped about Biden's presidential meltdown. Laughing off the incident, Joe wiped his sticky fingers on his suit, jokingly declaring, "Guess I'm now the first drip." The kids erupted in laughter, and Biden, ever the good sport, turned his mishap into an impromptu ice cream party, proving that even the leader of the free world can embrace a messy moment. The BRICS nations, a coalition of emerging economies, have unveiled a new payment system that seeks to overshadow the US dollar's reign. Imagine a world where the greenback, once the undisputed king, faces competition from nations like Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. This initiative aims to enhance trade among these countries while reducing reliance on the dollar, which has been a thorn in many sides. Skeptics predict this effort is like trying to dethrone a monarch with a rubber chicken. Still, if successful, it may reshape global finance. Just remember, even if the dollar is dethroned, it won't be the end. Just the beginning of a new economic saga. In 1907, New York City faced a public health nightmare as Typhoid Mary, an asymptomatic carrier of the disease, wreaked havoc. Mary Mallon was a cook who unknowingly spread typhoid fever, infecting over 50 people and causing several deaths. Authorities traced outbreaks back to her, yet she stubbornly refused to accept her role as a contagion. The city's health department confined her to isolation on North Brother Island, where she spent nearly 3 decades. Her defiance was chilling. Even after being freed, she continued to work as a cook, sparking more infections. The irony: she was never ill herself, yet her actions were lethal, leaving a legacy of fear and tragedy in her wake. In March 2013, in the heart of Brazil, a seemingly innocent kiss turned deadly. A 24-year-old man, smitten by romance, unknowingly exchanged more than affection. His partner, carrying a rare parasite called Trypanosoma cruzi, transferred the deadly organism during a passionate moment. Days later, he experienced severe symptoms: fever, fatigue, and swelling. Doctors were baffled. The kiss, a lethal trap. Within weeks, his organs began to fail, and death loomed. The tragedy culminated in a hospital room where the once vibrant man succumbed to Chagas disease, reminding us that love can hide the darkest secrets. A kiss, a parasite, a fate sealed. In July 1999, a shocking horror struck Pittsburgh when a deadly outbreak of Legionella bacteria swept through the city. This was no ordinary illness. This flesh-eating parasite invaded the lungs of unsuspecting victims, causing a nightmare of symptoms. Patients experienced high fevers, chills, and muscle aches, but that was just the beginning. As the bacteria ravaged their bodies, it led to severe pneumonia and even organ failure. One particular case involved a healthy young man who succumbed to this merciless infection within days, his body deteriorating before the eyes of horrified doctors. The outbreak claimed lives, leaving the community in terror and disbelief as they grappled with the sinister power of a microscopic killer. On a fateful day in Baja California, 2013, a man's life took a horrific turn. After swimming in the ocean, he felt an odd sensation in his mouth. Unbeknownst to him, a tongue-eating louse had invaded his body. This grotesque parasite, once a lowly fish feeder, latched onto his tongue, devouring it slowly and painfully. As it feasted, his taste buds vanished, leaving only agony and an insatiable thirst. The louse, now his grotesque roommate, left him unable to speak or eat properly. In a cruel twist, he became the ultimate snack. Months later, he succumbed to infections, forever a cautionary tale of nature's unrelenting horror and a reminder of life's fragile threads. In the summer of 2017, in the small town of Leduc, Alberta, a man named Jordan confronted a nightmare that would haunt him forever. After an innocent swim in a local lake, he developed a mysterious rash. Within days, this rash transformed into a gruesome wound, consuming his flesh at an alarming rate. Doctors diagnosed him with necrotizing fasciitis, a deadly flesh-eating bacteria. As the infection ravaged his body, he underwent multiple surgeries, fighting for his life. Overwhelmed with pain, Jordan became a living testament to the horrors hidden beneath the surface of calm waters. His struggle was not just physical, it tested the very limits of human endurance. In August 2019, a man in Florida faced a nightmare when he was infected by a flesh-eating bacteria, known scientifically as Vibrio vulnificus. After a day at the beach, he developed horrifying symptoms, including intense pain and swelling. The bacteria entered through a small cut, unleashing a vicious attack on his body. Within hours, his skin began to necrotize, leaving a ghastly sight. Doctors fought desperately, but the infection spread rapidly, leading to severe tissue loss. Despite advanced medical intervention, he succumbed to septic shock. This terrifying case serves as a grim reminder of nature's cruelty, lurking just out of sight, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. In 2019, a horrifying tragedy unfolded at Lake Victoria, Uganda. A young man eager to cool off on a hot day waded into the water, unknowingly inviting a deadly parasite called schistosoma into his body. These vicious worms infiltrated his bloodstream, causing relentless pain and internal chaos. Symptoms began as flu-like discomfort, but escalated into agonizing abdominal pain and extreme fatigue. As the parasites multiplied, they wreaked havoc on his organs. By the time he sought help, it was too late. Shockingly, schistosomiasis claimed his life. The true horror? This underreported killer lurks in many waters, silently hunting the next victim. In January 2021, a young man in Brazil faced a ghastly fate, a victim of a brutal parasite known as the rat lungworm. This insidious creature lurks in tropical waters and can invade the human body through contaminated food. As the man consumed raw snails, a nightmare unfolded. The parasite began to invade his central nervous system, leading to severe neurological complications. He suffered excruciating headaches, paralysis, and hallucinations. His body turned against him, and in just weeks he succumbed to the ravages of this hidden killer. His story serves as a dark reminder of nature's cruel side, where something as small as a snail can unleash destruction and chaos. A true horror tale from the depths of our planet. In a remote village in Brazil in April 2022, a man named Carlos swam in a seemingly innocent pond. Little did he know he was about to encounter a hidden nightmare. He unknowingly absorbed schistosomiasis, a parasite carried by freshwater snails. Within weeks, Carlos felt fatigue and fever, but it escalated to unimaginable pain. The parasites invaded his bloodstream, wreaking havoc on his organs. His stomach bloated grotesquely as the worms multiplied, causing irreversible damage. Doctors were baffled, and as Carlos's health deteriorated, the grim reality set in. He was losing the battle. This is the terrifying truth of schistosomiasis, a reminder that nature can be mercilessly cruel. In 1997, a swimmer in the Amazon River fell victim to the infamous kangaroo, also known as the vampire fish. This tiny creature, barely an inch long, is notorious for its predilection for human flesh. As the swimmer emerged from the water, he felt an agonizing sensation. The kangaroo had infiltrated his urethra, causing excruciating pain and bleeding. Medical personnel struggled to extract the fish, which clung tenaciously. The infection spread, leading to severe complications. Doctors resorted to drastic measures, but the damage was done. The once vibrant swimmer was left fighting for his life, proving that not all monsters lurk in the shadows. Some are lurking in the depths of the Amazon. In July 2011, in the bustling city of London, a horrifying story unfolded. A young contact lens wearer developed acanthamoeba keratitis, a rare but deadly infection caused by a microscopic parasite lurking in water. It invaded her cornea, leading to relentless pain, sensitivity to light, and blurred vision. As doctors struggled to diagnose her, the parasite wreaked havoc on her eye, causing it to deteriorate. The agony was excruciating, and she was left fighting not just for her sight, but for her sanity. This nightmare culminated in the need for a corneal transplant, a last resort. Acanthamoeba doesn't just threaten vision, it devours life itself, leaving a chilling mark on its victims. In 1995, in a small town in the U.S., a 30-year-old man began suffering from a sore throat. What seemed like a trivial annoyance soon escalated into a nightmare. Streptococcus bacteria invaded his tonsils, triggering severe inflammation. Within days, he was battling excruciating pain, fever, and difficulty swallowing. As the infection spread, his body went into shock. Doctors attempted to treat him with antibiotics, but the bacteria had other plans. Toxic shock syndrome set in, leading to multiple organ failure. Ultimately, the seemingly harmless throat scratch claimed his life, leaving behind a warning: never underestimate the power of tiny pathogens in our bodies. A throat infection can be a death sentence. In July 1976, in Philadelphia, a horrifying outbreak of Legionnaire's disease claimed 34 lives at a convention. This was not just any pneumonia. It was a killer, lurking in the water supply at the Bellevue Stratford Hotel. The bacterium, Legionella pneumophila, thrived in the hotel's cooling towers. Victims faced fever, chills, and severe respiratory distress, often leading to death within days. The sheer brutality of this illness was striking. As the death toll rose, panic ensued. Investigators battled to trace the source, unmasking a terrifying truth: a common bug could become a lethal assassin. The horror of that summer still lingers, a reminder of nature's deadly unpredictability.
In the spring of 2008, the small town of Haverstraw, New York, faced an agricultural nightmare. Farmers discovered their potato crops wilting and rotting, victims of the potato virus, a deadly pathogen that spread like wildfire. As the leaves turned black and mushy, panic set in. The culprit? A complex viral strain that turned once bountiful fields into graveyards of decay. Farmers watched helplessly as their livelihoods disintegrated, leading to massive financial losses. This catastrophe didn't just kill potatoes, it crippled families, forcing many into bankruptcy. The fallout was devastating, revealing just how vulnerable our food supply can be to a relentless, unseen enemy lurking in the soil.
In the heart of the Amazon rainforest on March 12, 2023, a hiker named Alex stumbled upon a peculiar mushroom. Unbeknownst to him, it was a mind-controlling fungus known as Ophiocordyceps. Within hours, his behavior changed, as though a sinister puppet master had taken control. He wandered deeper into the forest, oblivious to the dangers around him. Days later, local villagers found him, frozen in a trance, with fungal tendrils creeping from his mouth. The horror unfolded as he collapsed, grotesquely convulsing, while spores exploded into the air. The villagers watched in terror as Alex became a grotesque host, his body a vessel for the fungus's deadly reproduction, a chilling reminder of nature's darker side and the fragility of human life. On May 12, 2023, in a remote village in rural Brazil, a man named Carlos discovered a small bump on his arm. Initially dismissed as a mosquito bite, it soon transformed into a grotesque cyst, pulsating ominously. As days passed, the cyst expanded, revealing a writhing mass within. Doctors, bewildered, diagnosed him with a rare parasitic infection. The parasite feasted on his flesh, leaving trails of necrotic tissue. Pain surged through his body as he writhed in agony, humorlessly contemplating whether he should name the parasite. When it burst open, a torrent of infected pus flooded his arm, signaling the end. Carlos succumbed to the parasite, leaving behind a darkly humorous tale of nature's voracious appetite. In the humid jungles of Southeast Asia on July 12, 2020, a tourist named Mark stumbled into a nightmare he'd never wake from. An innocuous swim in a crystal-clear river introduced him to a sinister parasite lurking beneath the surface. Within days, Mark's belly swelled grotesquely, resembling a grotesque balloon. Excruciating pain gripped him as the parasite feasted on his insides, transforming his once vibrant body into a hollow shell. Doctors were baffled as gruesome images of his rotting intestines surfaced in their minds. By the time they intervened, it was too late. Mark's screams echoed through the sterile hospital, fading as he succumbed to the insatiable monster, leaving only a chilling reminder of his horror behind. On July 21, 2023, in a small town in Louisiana, a shocking incident unfolded. A 32-year-old man, unaware of a lurking danger, began experiencing severe abdominal pain. What doctors discovered was horrifying. A rare parasite known as the corpse flower had taken root in his intestines. As it bloomed, it released toxic gases, causing his belly to swell grotesquely. Friends joked he was just full of himself, but within days he was in excruciating pain as the parasite feasted on his insides. The once vibrant man was reduced to a shell, gasping for breath until he finally succumbed. A morbid reminder, sometimes life truly imitates horror. Who knew nature could be this cruel? In January 2022, in a small village in Brazil, a man was bitten by a stray dog. What seemed like a routine incident quickly spiraled into a nightmare. Within days, he exhibited bizarre, violent behavior, screaming in agony as rabies took hold. His body twisted uncontrollably, muscles spasming like a marionette with cut strings. Family members watched in horror as he foamed at the mouth, eyes glistening with madness. The local health officials scrambled as the death toll rose. Rabies, a horror they thought was eradicated, was back. This deadly strain spread through the village, reminding everyone that sometimes a bite is just the beginning of the end. In the heart of London, the newly built Pinnacle Tower gained notoriety in November 2019 for a chilling phenomenon: inexplicable elevator disappearances. Witnesses claimed that people entering the elevators would often vanish without a trace, only to reappear hours later, disoriented and mumbling about strange lights. Security footage revealed nothing unusual, just the elevators operating as usual. Rumors spread, suggesting the elevators had a mind of their own or were portals to another realm. Employees began to avoid them, opting for the stairs, while the brave few who dared to ride spoke of an overwhelming sense of dread. What do you think happened in that mysterious elevator? In December 2020, Berlin residents began to experience an eerie phenomenon: alarms ringing at odd hours, yet no apparent cause. This silent alarm, often triggering at 3:33 a.m., baffled police and local authorities. Witnesses described it as a ghostly sound, unsettling and untraceable. Many speculated about technological glitches, while others whispered of supernatural forces. Frustration mounted as sleep-deprived citizens gathered in coffee shops, sharing theories and dark humor about their haunted city. Was it a collective prank or something more sinister? As the nights dragged on, fear began to overshadow curiosity. What do you think lies behind this unsettling mystery? In Frankfurt, Germany, 1997, an unexplainable murder gripped the city. In the heart of summer, the lifeless body of Klaus Weber, a local baker, was found in a park, his face twisted in an eerie grin. Authorities were baffled. No signs of struggle, no motive, just an inexplicable scene resembling a macabre art piece. Rumors swirled like smoke, some saying it was a ritual gone wrong, while others speculated a deranged artist. As detectives dug deeper, they unearthed strange connections to a forgotten cult. The case grew cold, and the city buzzed with dark humor, mocking the police's incompetence. What do you think happened to Klaus? Was it a killer or simply fate's cruel joke? In July 1975, Mary vanished from a crowded London street, leaving behind nothing but her half-eaten sandwich and a very confused cat. Witnesses claimed to have seen her walking toward a peculiar alley that seemed to whisper secrets. Mary was known for her sharp wit, often joking about being abducted by aliens. But this time, no one was laughing. Days turned into weeks, and the authorities were baffled. Some speculated she had joined a secret cult of tea enthusiasts, while others suggested she was testing a new disappearing act. The truth? Mary simply wanted to escape her mundane life. What do you think happened to her? Was it a clever escape or something more sinister? In March 2023, Vienna was gripped by a bizarre phenomenon. Street cats began vanishing. Owners noticed their feline friends fading away, leaving behind empty bowls and confused children. The city, once alive with the meows of these four-legged friends, turned eerily silent. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some claimed a mysterious cat cult was capturing them for sinister rituals, while others suggested a secret government project testing new feline technology. Bars buzzed with dark humor as locals joked about the great cat culling, yet no evidence surfaced. Just shadows of memories and whispers of what could have been. What do you think happened to those cats? Are they lost, or did they leave for a better place? In June 2018, in the heart of Hamburg, a wedding gift worth thousands disappeared under bizarre circumstances at a bustling reception. Guests were mingling, laughter echoed, when suddenly the ornate box containing the couple's honeymoon fund vanished. The couple, oblivious to the chaos unfolding, were busy dancing, unaware of the growing panic. Guests began speculating. Was it a prank? A heist? Theories spiraled, some humorously suggesting a disgruntled ex-lover or an overzealous aunt. Eventually, a witness claimed to have seen a figure leaving with the box, but the truth eluded everyone. What do you think happened to that precious gift on that unforgettable night? In April 1982, Munich was buzzing with excitement over a local beer garden famed for its legendary brews and lively atmosphere. One sunny Saturday, patrons flocked to enjoy a frothy pint, only to realize that the beer garden had inexplicably vanished overnight. Locals speculated that it was a prank, but as the hours passed, theories escalated. Did it succumb to a wormhole? Was it stolen by hungry ghosts? But as the days turned into weeks, the absence became an eerie local legend. In a strange twist, a new beer garden opened up in the same spot, offering the same brews, but with a touch of the supernatural. What do you think happened to the original beer garden? In July 2023, Buenos Aires became the stage for an inexplicable phenomenon, the Phantom Penguin Parade. On a chilly afternoon, hundreds of bewildered citizens gazed in disbelief as tuxedoed penguins waddled through the bustling streets. No one knew where they came from. Animal sanctuary, prank, or an elaborate dream gone wrong. The penguins, seemingly unfazed by the chaos, marched past cafes and shops, creating a bizarre yet delightful atmosphere. Laughter mingled with confusion as people snapped photos and questioned their sanity. Was this a clever marketing stunt or a sign of impending madness? What if the penguins were a message from the universe? What do you think these mysterious visitors meant for the city? In May 2021, Kempten, Germany, became the unlikely stage for a bizarre spectacle. Mysterious lights dancing in the night sky. Residents, armed with curiosity and a healthy dose of skepticism, gathered in droves to witness the inexplicable. These ghostly orbs floated over the old town square, shimmering like disco balls at a funeral. Some speculated UFOs, while others whispered about restless spirits. Laughter mixed with nervous energy as locals shared tales of past hauntings, each story more ludicrous than the last. But amid the jokes, a deeper question lingered. Were these lights mere tricks of the eye or a cosmic joke? What would you believe if you saw them too? In the late hours of November 2022 in Hamburg's historic district, an unsettling phenomenon gripped the city. Locals reported seeing ghostly figures wandering aimlessly, their features blurred and indistinct. At first, the sightings seemed isolated, but soon they became a nightly occurrence. The air grew thick with an eerie silence, as if the city itself held its breath. Residents shared chilling tales of these apparitions, often describing them as lost souls searching for something. Some even claimed they felt a cold hand brush against their shoulders. Was it mere imagination or something deeply unsettling? What do you believe was behind this strange occurrence in Hamburg? In the depths of the Amazon rainforest on March 15, 2012, a tourist waded into the murky waters, blissfully unaware of the lurking danger. A giant leech, bloodthirsty and ravenous, latched onto his leg. As he sought to pry it off, the leech burrowed deeper, injecting anticoagulants. Hours passed, and the man began to feel weak, dizzy. Little did he know, the creature was feasting on his life force. Blood poured from the wound, turning his once vibrant skin into a grotesque canvas of red. Friends panicked, but it was too late. By the time help arrived, he lay lifeless, a victim of nature's gruesome dance. The leech vanished, leaving behind only horror and an empty shell. On July 15, 2023, in a quaint Costa Rican village, a tourist named Jake stumbled upon a hidden lagoon. Little did he know, he was wading into a petri dish of doom. A microscopic parasite lurking in the water latched onto him with a ferocity that would make a horror movie proud. Within days, Jake's body turned into a battleground as the parasite wreaked havoc, eating him from the inside out. His screams echoed through the jungle, a macabre serenade to nature's brutality. Friends, initially amused by his minor illness, soon faced the grim reality as Jake became a ghost of his former self, succumbing to fever and organ failure. A gruesome reminder of nature's darkest secrets. On March 15, 2023, in a remote forest in Oregon, John, an experienced hunter, felt an unusual fatigue after a long day tracking deer. Little did he know, a stealthy parasite had invaded his bloodstream. As the days passed, he experienced intense muscle spasms, nausea, and a fever that left him delirious. He brushed it off as exhaustion from the hunt. But the parasite was relentless. It slowly consumed John from within, turning him into a puppet controlled by its insatiable hunger. In a horrifying twist, he felt the urge to hunt again, not for deer, but for human flesh. John became a gruesome predator, meeting a tragic end as the parasite devoured his sanity, leaving behind only a lifeless shell in the woods. In August 2022, Berlin was enveloped in an eerie sight. Large, shimmering air bubbles floated lazily across the sky. At first, people thought it was a prank or some elaborate art installation. But as days passed, the bubbles multiplied, casting bizarre reflections on the city's iconic landmarks. Locals began to joke about the air being too bubbly for their taste, while some wondered if the city had become a giant soap factory. Scientists scrambled to explain this phenomenon, proposing theories ranging from atmospheric anomalies to unusual pollution. Yet the truth remained elusive, and the air bubbles seemed to mock the attempts at understanding. What do you think caused this strange occurrence? In 1978, Munich was shaken by an inexplicable phenomenon. A stone began to speak. Located in the heart of the city, tourists gathered as whispers emerged from an unassuming granite rock in a small park. Initially dismissed as a prank, the stone's revelations grew eerily accurate, sharing personal secrets of passers-by. A local historian, intrigued yet skeptical, documented the bizarre occurrences, noting that the stone never repeated itself. Tensions escalated when it accurately predicted a tragic event, leaving the community rattled. As the stone's fame spread, skeptics clashed with believers. What could this strange object truly be? Was it madness, magic, or something otherworldly? What do you think? In October 1924, 5 climbers set out to conquer the majestic Mont Rainier in Washington. This group, experienced and well-prepared, included the famed explorer Philip J. McDonald. They had planned for a few days of adventure, but as days turned into weeks, something unnerving took hold. Locals reported an eerie silence, as if the mountain itself held its breath. Search parties were dispatched, yet no trace of the climbers was found. Rumors swirled. Did they encounter an alien force, or was it simply a tragic accident? One can't help but wonder, in a world where we struggle to understand the cosmos, can we laugh at our own insignificance? What do you think really happened to them? In 2013, a 30-year-old man in Florida went for a swim in a warm freshwater lake, unknowingly inviting a sinister foe, Niglaria fowleri, the brain-eating amoeba. Within days, he was struck by a relentless fever, headache, and nausea. His brain, once vibrant, began to dissolve into a grotesque mush, the parasite feasting on his neural tissue. As he writhed in agony, doctors fought desperately but were met with the futility of modern medicine against this microscopic predator. Within a week, he was pronounced dead, leaving behind a family shattered by grief. This horrifying tale reminds us that sometimes nature's cruelty is lurking beneath the surface, waiting to strike without warning, turning life into a nightmare. In the remote Mackenzie Valley of Canada, a horrifying outbreak erupted in August 1999. The Mackenzie Valley virus, a deadly pathogen, emerged, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. Victims experienced excruciating symptoms: high fever, relentless vomiting, and staggering hemorrhages. Those infected were often found incapacitated, the life draining from their bodies as reality turned into a nightmare. Medical professionals scrambled to understand the virus as panic seized the region. With no cure, the death toll rose, leading to desperate measures. The tragedy underscored the vulnerability of humanity against unseen threats. This dark chapter serves as a chilling reminder of nature's unchecked wrath. In the lush forests of Brazil, a terrifying transformation unfolds. The cordyceps fungus infiltrates the ant's body, hijacking its mind. The infected ant, now a puppet to the fungus, climbs high into the foliage. As it reaches the perfect spot, it clamps onto a leaf, acting as a grotesque anchor for the fungus. Slowly, the ant's body becomes a vessel, sprouting fungal stalks that erupt, showering spores on unsuspecting colonies below. Fast forward to Southeast Asia, where another ant succumbs to the same fate. This time, the fungus forces the ant to venture into the open, leading its comrades to their doom, ensuring the cycle continues. Nature's cruelty is a chilling reminder of its vicious intricacies. In July 2023, during a vibrant festival in Bali, Indonesia, the excitement turned to horror as a sudden outbreak of dengue fever emerged. At first, it was just a few attendees falling ill, perhaps too much sun or too many cocktails. But within days, hundreds were struck down, writhing in pain. The virus, carried by pesky mosquitoes, unleashed a hellish cycle of fever, excruciating joint pain, and life-threatening bleeding. As hospitals overflowed, doctors faced the grim task of choosing who could be saved. By the end of the festival, a once joyful celebration became a mass grave, showcasing the brutal power of nature's tiny assassins at play. In the dense forests of the Amazon, a horrifying phenomenon unfolds. The Cordyceps unilateralis fungus infects ants, hijacking their minds and bodies. On a fateful day in July, a hapless worker ant climbs high into the trees, driven by the fungus's insidious command. Once there, it bites down on a leaf, sealing its doom. The fungus erupts from its head, releasing spores to infect others below. Meanwhile, in Vietnam, another ant meets a grim fate. In September, it succumbs to the same fate, becoming a puppet of this parasitic horror. The consequences are devastating. Entire colonies collapse under the weight of the fungus, a dark testament to nature's ruthless ingenuity. In December 1923, a tram in Vienna made headlines by vanishing as if the earth had swallowed it whole. Passengers boarded for a routine trip, but moments later, it disappeared from the tracks. Witnesses reported seeing a flash of light followed by an eerie silence. Panic spread as frantic families searched for their loved ones. Authorities, baffled, were quick to dismiss it as a prank, yet no trace was ever found. Some speculated a secret underground passage or a time-warping phenomenon. Meanwhile, the story morphed into urban legend, with locals jokingly suggesting the tram still roams the streets, searching for riders. What do you think happened to that ill-fated tram? In the fall of 1985, the atmosphere at Greendale College was thick with excitement, but behind closed doors in Dormitory 3, darkness brewed. A beloved student, Sarah, was found lifeless after a night of revelry, her body sprawled across the floor as if she had been caught in a moment of sheer terror. Rumors swirled among students like smoke from the candles lit in her memory. Those who dared to speak of the incident claimed to hear whispers in the halls, Sarah's voice calling out for help. Some joked that her ghost would demand better grades, but beneath the humor lay a chilling truth. The death remained unsolved, leaving everyone to wonder, was it a tragic accident or something more sinister lurking in the shadows? In the quiet town of Bad Salzuflen, Germany, January 1992 began with a chilling air. The locals were unaware that a gruesome murder was lurking beneath the surface. It was the evening of January 15th when 34-year-old Klaus Müller was discovered lifeless in his modest apartment. The scene was brutal. Blood splattered across the walls, a clear indication of a violent struggle. Neighbors whispered about his life, recalling his eccentric personality and countless enemies. Some speculated a love affair gone wrong. Others pointed fingers at his shady business dealings. The police were baffled by the lack of evidence. As rumors swirled, the question remained, who could commit such a heinous act in this seemingly peaceful town? On April 5, 1994, Seattle became the backdrop for a tragedy that shook the music world. Kurt Cobain, the grunge icon, was found dead in his home. His body lay in a small greenhouse, a shotgun nearby, and a note that blended heartbreak with disillusionment. Fans mourned while conspiracy theories flourished. Was it suicide or something more sinister? The city, once alive with his music, turned eerily silent. People speculated about the pressures of fame and addiction that weighed heavily on him. Cobain's death not only marked the end of an era, but also left a haunting question. Could someone so influential truly escape the demons that plagued him? In October 1849, Baltimore became the eerie setting for the mysterious death of literary giant Edgar Allan Poe. Found delirious and dressed in clothes that weren't his, Poe was discovered on the streets, mumbling cryptic phrases. As rumors swirled, speculation ranged from rabies to foul play. Doctors dismissed his condition as madness, but friends recalled a man haunted by demons, both internal and external. The funeral was sparsely attended, a tragic end for a mind that crafted tales of terror. In a macabre twist, Poe's death remains unsolved, leaving behind a legacy steeped in mystery, much like his haunting prose, compelling yet bewildering. What truly happened that fateful night? On August 5, 1962, the world woke to a shocking headline. Marilyn Monroe, the iconic starlet, was found dead in her Los Angeles home. The circumstances were shrouded in mystery. She was discovered by her housekeeper, lying face down with a telephone in hand, a bottle of pills nearby. Speculation ran rampant. Was it suicide, an accidental overdose, or something more sinister? Friends expressed disbelief, while conspiracy theories flourished. Some claimed she was silenced due to her rumored affairs with powerful men, including the Kennedy brothers. As the investigation unfolded, the lack of clear answers left a haunting legacy, turning her death into a chilling enigma that still captivates the public's imagination. On a fateful evening in August 2021 in a small town in New Mexico, a young man named Jake was bitten by a seemingly harmless stray dog. Little did he know that this bite would unleash the relentless horror of rabies. Days passed, and as the virus infiltrated his body, Jake began to experience terrifying symptoms: hallucinations, uncontrollable rage, and an insatiable thirst that nothing could quench. His mind, once vibrant, was now a battleground of fear and insanity. Friends and family watched helplessly as Jake transformed into a shell of his former self, his body succumbing to violent spasms. The finality of his fate loomed, a grim reminder of nature's dark humor. In the end, rabies devoured him whole, leaving behind only echoes of what once was. In Paris, on a fateful day in 2013, a seemingly harmless treatment called chelation therapy spiraled into a nightmare. Patients flocked to clinics, desperate to detoxify from heavy metals, unaware of the lurking danger. What started as a hopeful remedy morphed into a horrifying ordeal. Tainted solutions, due to negligence, coursed through veins like poison. Symptoms erupted: violent tremors, excruciating pain, and delirium. The once bustling clinic turned into a scene of chaos as patients writhed, gasping for breath. Family members watched in horror, grappling with the reality that a simple treatment had transformed into a death sentence. A tragic reminder. Even medicine can turn toxic when safety is overlooked. In the summer of 1665, London was a cauldron of despair. The Great Plague swept through the streets like a vengeful ghost, claiming lives with brutal efficiency. A young man, Thomas, felt a strange itch on his skin, an omen. Soon his body erupted in painful boils, each one a tiny grave. Friends vanished, and families became shadows. Death carts lined the streets, their wheels echoing like death's whispers. As the plague ravaged his neighborhood, Thomas watched his loved ones fall, one by one. In a bizarre twist, his fevered mind sought humor amid the chaos, laughing at the absurdity of his fate. The plague wasn't just a disease, it was a gruesome comedian, striking the stage of life with deadly glee. In May 2016, in a small town in Texas, a woman named Mary experienced the unthinkable. What began as a simple cut on her leg quickly spiraled into a nightmare, as necrotizing fasciitis, a flesh-eating bacteria, invaded her body. Within hours, she was writhing in pain, her flesh disintegrating before her eyes. Doctors fought desperately to save her, but the bacteria were relentless, consuming her muscles and skin at an alarming rate. The once vibrant Mary was reduced to a shell of her former self, battling for life against an invisible enemy. Ultimately, the disease claimed her leg, leaving behind a haunting reminder of the horror that lurked just beneath the surface. On a humid August day in 2018 in rural Louisiana, a fisherman named Tom felt an odd sting on his leg. What began as a minor irritation escalated horrifically. A rare flesh-eating disease, necrotizing fasciitis, took hold. Within hours, his leg swelled, turning black, as if a vampire had drained the life from it. The pain? Excruciating, like being slowly boiled alive. Doctors struggled in disbelief as they performed emergency surgery, but the infection rampaged, devouring flesh at an accelerating pace. Friends watched, helpless, as Tom's spirit waned, reduced to a shell. His tragic end became a grim reminder. Nature's cruelty knows no bounds. A fisherman devoured, leaving behind only haunting questions. In 1347, in the bustling streets of Messina, a man named Giovanni faced the terrifying onslaught of the Black Death. As the disease spread like wildfire, Giovanni's body became a battlefield. Fever raged, and grotesque buboes erupted. The air reeked of decay. Laughter became a distant memory, replaced by the mournful cries of the dying. Each day he watched friends fall, their lives snuffed out like candles. Family and neighbors fled, leaving him to confront the grim shadow of death alone. Giovanni's fight was agonizing, hope dwindling as black patches consumed him. Yet in the darkness, a macabre humor flickered. Death's inevitability made life's absurdity painfully clear. A tragic dance with mortality unfolded. In 1347, the shores of Messina, Sicily, bore witness to a nightmare. The Black Death, a gruesome plague, unleashed its wrath. Imagine swelling buboes, blackened skin, and a stench of death wafting through the air. The disease, carried by fleas on rats, transformed bustling cities into ghost towns. Families abandoned loved ones, and villages were left eerily silent. Death claimed over 25 million lives in Europe, with victims gasping for breath, their bodies writhing in agony. The grim humor of survival. Many fled to the countryside only to find death lurking there too. The Black Death didn't just take lives, it shattered societies, leaving a haunting legacy of fear and despair. On July 12, 2024, in the dense forests of British Columbia, a chilling phenomenon unfolded. Wildlife began to exhibit bizarre behavior. Deer roamed aimlessly, eyes glazed and empty. This was the soul-eater plague, a malevolent disease that consumed not just flesh, but the very essence of life. Infected animals suffered excruciating convulsions, their bodies twisted in grotesque pain, as if something sinister clawed within them. Death was a mercy, yet the infected lingered on, a haunting reminder of their former selves. As the plague spread, whispers of despair echoed through the woods, turning once vibrant ecosystems into graveyards of lost souls, each one a victim of nature's cruelest joke. On August 12, 2024, in a quiet suburb of Silverwood, a seemingly ordinary dog named Max was struck by an inexplicable illness. Symptoms began with a chilling cough, an eerie whisper escaping his throat. As days passed, his body convulsed, trembling with feverish heat, while his once bright eyes dulled. This sinister virus, dubbed Deathly Whispers, spread like wildfire, leaving a trail of suffering in its wake. Max's appetite vanished, replaced by a grotesque thirst for water he couldn't hold down. Eventually, his organs betrayed him, one by one, succumbing to this unseen predator. The neighborhood mourned, unaware that the virus lurked, waiting for its next unsuspecting victim. A dark reminder of nature's cruel unpredictability. On July 22, 2024, in the heart of Chicago, a strange and grotesque illness began ravaging raccoons. Known as the raccoon rot, this bizarre plague turned the playful scavengers into grotesque shadows of their former selves. Symptoms included bulging eyes, fur falling out in clumps, and an insatiable urge to gnaw on anything, especially their own limbs. As the disease spread like wildfire, the streets filled with the sickly sweet stench of decay. Urban dwellers laughed nervously as these once beloved creatures succumbed to madness. The impact, a horrific cycle of despair, turning vibrant neighborhoods into graveyards of fallen raccoons, leaving behind only bones and grotesque memories. In the summer of 2024, in the lush fields of Northern California, a terrifying phenomenon emerged: zombie bee syndrome. This insidious fungal infection, caused by the parasite Ophiocordyceps, invades honeybees, transforming them into grotesque puppets. The infected bees, driven mad, abandon their hives and fly erratically, often to their doom. As the fungus spreads, it gnaws at the very fabric of the hive, causing mass die-offs. The once buzzing colonies fall silent, leaving a haunting void. This disease isn't just a bee problem, it's a warning of ecological collapse. As bees vanish, pollination falters, crops fail, and the chain reaction threatens all life. The horror continues. Who knew a simple bee could be the harbinger of doom? On August 18, 2024, a small forest in Oregon became ground zero for a bizarre and lethal virus: the porcupine plague. This wasn't just any ordinary illness. It turned these spiky critters into walking pincushions of doom. Infected porcupines exhibited violent tremors, their quills erupting like fireworks, sending their own defenses into a chaotic frenzy. Within days, entire colonies crumbled, their death knells echoing through the woods. The underlying cause? A microscopic barbarian that feasted on their nervous systems. As the forest floor became littered with quilled corpses, one had to chuckle darkly. Nature's way of reminding us, even the prickliest can have a bad day. Talk about a pointy end. In a small town in Oregon, on a chilling December day in 2021, a dog named Max fell victim to the notorious canine plague. This disease, a ruthless killer, manifested with violent symptoms: severe vomiting, uncontrollable diarrhea, and fever as high as 105 degrees. Max's owner, horrified, watched helplessly as the vibrant pup faded, his energy sapped and his spirit crushed. The virus ravaged his body, leaving him a mere shadow of his former self. Blood poured from his nose, a stark reminder of his impending doom. The vet's face was grim. The prognosis was dire. Max's tragic battle was a chilling reminder that sometimes love isn't enough against such a merciless foe. In May 2021, near the wetlands of Louisiana, a curious, unsuspecting frog stumbled upon a peculiar snail. This wasn't just any mollusk, it was infected with a bizarre parasitic disease. As the little frog munched away, it unknowingly invited doom. The parasite, a ruthless killer, began its gruesome work, invading the frog's nervous system. Within days, the once lively creature exhibited bizarre behaviors, twitching uncontrollably as if in a macabre dance. The disease spread relentlessly, causing internal chaos. Soon, the vibrant green skin turned pale, the eyes clouded, and then silence. The swamp, once alive with croaks, now whispered tales of this tragic demise, an unsettling reminder of nature's cruelty. In early 2023, California witnessed a grim invasion as a horrifying fungus ravaged the toad population. This insidious pathogen, Batrachogchytrium dendrobatitis, spread like wildfire, decimating amphibians. Once vibrant ecosystems transformed into graveyards of lifeless bodies, with toads succumbing to relentless infections. Their skin peeled away, revealing raw, exposed flesh, leading to a grotesque sight of suffering. This fungal nightmare wasn't just a statistic, it meant untold agony for these creatures. As local wildlife disappeared, the balance of nature teetered on the brink. The relentless march of this plague serves as a bleak reminder of nature's harsh realities and the fragility of life itself. In the summer of 2024, Swamptown, a tiny village nestled by a marsh, faced an unprecedented horror, a plague of rabid frogs. These once innocuous creatures mutated, driven mad by toxins in the water. As night fell, their haunting croaks morphed into eerie screams, signaling doom. Villagers, oblivious to the threat, scoffed until the frogs leaped into their homes, eyes blazing with fury. The rabies spread like wildfire. Bitten villagers succumbed to foaming madness, thrashing in terror. Children screamed as the panic spread, families barricading doors against the relentless onslaught. Swamptown became a ghost town, echoing with the dark symphony of rabid frogs unleashing chaos, a tragic reminder of nature's fury.